Welcome to 2024, and the best news of the year is, well, the tech companies are laying off majority of their workforce. Isn't that great for starting for a new year? So now let's talk about the job market, and let's ask yourself the question, do you feel it's recently impossible to find a job? Now, a job for everyone in the modern age is to pay for daily essentials and to buy things that you enjoy, and basically sustain a living. So if you don't have a job in modern day and age, I guess you could just live off the woods or live off the boonies. Maybe you can live off the grid, but it's not as easy as you think. Especially with the massive tech industry layoffs that have been happening around recently, from you got eBay, you got Google, Microsoft, and just in the year 2024. What a horrible year to start. Barely the start of the year, at least 18,873 workers at US-based tech companies have lost their jobs so far in January alone. That's just what? In the new year, everyone's celebrating. He's like, here comes incoming pink slip. It's like, Bob, you're fired. But nice family, by the way, and Happy New Year's. That's like a perfect New Year gift. So according to a Crunchbase news tally, many people find it troublesome and impossible to find a stable job and a job that treats you well. Unfortunately, it is hard to find a work-life balance because jobs and businesses have to fight inflation or government planning in majority cases. I'm talking about you, New York and California. But in turn, majority of the average American is less optimistic about the economy and the job market in 2024, based on the massive layoffs. So based on a recent survey conducted by Insight Global in July 2023, about 55% of unemployed adults said that they were burnt out trying to look for a new job, which is as of everyone. In this case, it's definitely getting worse. It's really understandable that the job search process can be extremely tedious and exhausting as you are competing with so many people, along with rising prices and goods and services, then hit with wage inflation on top of that. It's no figure why that you guys as the average American is exhausted, especially the millennial generation, because we have to carry the next generation over. And of course, let's face it, a lot of people don't like Gen Zs. And because, like every other generation, we blame the one previously for the problems. But instead of blaming others, now you can look up the upcoming rise of technology and AI to balance out the workforce. So companies are finding cheaper alternatives and rendering job positions that used to be in demand no longer available in this case. However, despite all the doom and gloom, an article cited by CNBC highlights that the job market is strong despite gradual cooling from the pandemic era highs, according to labor economists. So that means they're saying that the job market is still doing pretty well, even all the doom and gloom that a majority of the news media shows. Personally, it really depends on the sector you are and where you're living. Let's say you're in New York City. If you look at New York City, you look at someone like Cash Jordan, yeah, New York is having a tough time because, let's face it, government bureaucracy and a lot of tech companies now facing that people are deciding to work at home because who doesn't want to work at home? Confidence for employees fell last month to its lowest level since 2016, according to Glassdoor data, and about 46% of workers reported a positive 6-month outlook for their employers. So down from a 54% a year ago. This is not really surprising as we look through all the layoffs that have been happening. Now, in January 2024, hiring wage and growth were really robust, coinciding with a low US employment rate of 3.7%. But if you think about it, 3.7% of hundreds of millions of people in this case. So the Federal Reserve recently announced a decision to maintain its benchmark interest rates, which has been steadily since July. Additionally, the data reveals that the unemployment rate has remained below 4% for 2 consecutive years, marking the longest streak since 1960s. But now as a job seeker, why does it feel really difficult to get a job? Now, in this case, it's a daunting task to apply for many job applications and getting ghosted or rejected. Of course, everyone has this feeling. We have to go through this process. The average American is being burnt out from this exhausting task, and the time it takes for getting hired may be extremely long. Let's say, for example, some industries, like the energy sector in this case, the defense sector, take an average of 67 days to hire. That's literally almost 2.5 months of you not working. You gotta pay for expenses, you gotta pay for your family's living. You have a lot of things on your plate, and 2 months of not working, it's quite a hard blow in this case. Now, this is not even to mention the countless interviews you have to put through and assessments for the company if you see you're the right fit for the job. It also may put on the recruiter's part if they do not know what to look for specifically when they are trying to hire for the company. Now, some recruiters may ask questions that feel like they are wasting your time. This wastes a precious opportunity to reveal certain skills that you might have, which may be very beneficial to the company. And that's what many companies try to get correct, but in this case, it's very difficult to find the person that they are looking for. And whether or not, this is an ongoing process. So whether you're ready in the situation or not, just take a moment to imagine it. If you apply for an application form, after the application form went in, and whether it gets to the interview part in this case, it did not go as well as you planned. Let's say, for example, you will feel dejected, which is unfortunately part of life. And this is basically living, is a mental test to see how resilient you are when taking failures. Now, after all, no one likes to be rejected or have their time being wasted while going through these applications. Now, think about it. What about the job openings? Data of the Bureau of Labor Statistics shows that 353,000 jobs were added in January, according to the establishment survey data provided. That being shortly lasted as the job growth fell to 150,000 last month, and employment rose to 3.9%, which is considered like, that's not a lot, but we're talking about hundreds of millions of people. 3.9% of hundreds of million people, that's quite a lot of people. Now, with that all being said, even though it may look pessimistic in the cooling job market we are in, there are a few tips on how to secure a job position this year, such as, let's say you've gone to research where hiring is happening. For example, like research like in cities where you are looking for the most job or that specific niche. Like if you're doing tech, maybe Simi Valley, maybe different parts of like Dallas, Texas. And the next one would be networking with others and going to business events. There are huge opportunities. And these opportunities will create more opportunities and strengthening bonds with existing ones. You might also find a job position that wasn't mass advertised, or you can also learn new skills in the industry that you're seeking a job in. There's a lot of opportunities, just don't close all the doors. Now, making a job plan is very important, which involves a list of employers you want to work with and may set you towards a path which you will never expect. There are a lot of methods for job hunting, such as you have mutual connections, you got your friend list. You can have making videos, like for example, me making videos online and making cover letters, posting places where people will eventually find you. You run it, you basically casting a net and see what jumps in. Now, to summarize all of this, use the best of technology to search for a job and pursue companies that they are hiring. So by that extension in this case, don't leave out any important details about, like, let's say you have certifications. Maybe you have skills that you're really good that you can show your employer. Maybe you're a mechanic and you show that you can fix cars at like a better level than everyone else. Now, what do you guys think about the current job market? Life is always full of ups and downs, and there's always something new waiting for the horizon in this case. Now, how would you handle a situation when it comes down to you being rejected, or in this case, being laid off or fired? And is the search for a job hard and tedious? Let me know down in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe. Now, let's say you're a contract worker in this case. But before you click off, you should look at 1099 videos, where I post a link down below. If you get 1099 from your contract work or your side hustle, check out my video down below and I'll explain to you how to solve that problem. See you guys next time.